I don't like these movies.
Get real.
Dude, I saw that movie 20 goddamn times!
Just consume product. I watch a lot of movies. Yeah, a lot of movies are the best movies.
And there's so much fun! And
Oh, this movie's too complicated, man.
So once again, no smoking in this theater.
He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
Hello, welcome to the first ever Idle Film Club, your brain rock girlfriend's new favourite film podcast. I'm Callum.
And I'm Gia.
On Idle Film Club, we're going to be discussing new films, old films, good films and bad films, and a little bit of everything in between.
We'll recap the plot, give our opinion and thoughts on the films, and then dive a little deeper into the who, what, where, why, and how these movies get made.
Our first film to be inducted into the Idle Film Club is the smash hit of 2004, Madame Web. A movie...
2004?
No, fuck. A movie that Sony thought was too big to fail. However, the same was said about the Hindenburg.
Ooh, political for you.
Madame Web is unlike any other Marvel movie.
We saw it in a packed out cinema on Friday.
3 other people.
Yeah, for 3 other people, and there's a cinema on a Friday night. For context, we're recording this on a Saturday. We saw it last night, so it's fresh on our minds. We've had a night to sleep on it, so no rash thoughts here.
You've got 3 girls in the cinema, and as they should, they're Snapchatting, because that's what Sony deserves.
That is what the film sort of deserves. It didn't deserve much attention. You can go on our TikTok, by the way, Idle Film Club, and see a video of the cinema. If you don't believe us, it was a fucking wasteland.
For a Friday night.
For a
Peak
Friday
time.
night. Yeah.
I would ask my money back, but controversially, they deserved my money. It was pity money.
It was pity money.
They're not making big bank on this one.
Right, so I'm going to run through the plot quickly. Although we did see it last night, a lot happened in it. For a film that's an hour and a half, a lot does happen. And
It's not an hour and a half, it's an hour and 56 minutes.
that was it did not feel like 2 hours.
No.
Well, straight off the
flew
bat,
by.
it did fly by. So let me just recap the plot quickly for you. So the film opens in 1973 in an Amazonian jungle where a heavily pregnant spider researcher named Constance is on the hunt for a magical spider. She's obsessed with it, right? She wants it because it might cure various diseases and just help the people. She's very loving. She's a very helpful person. Alongside her on this magical spider hunt is a research team that includes one Mr. Ezekiel Sims. Ezekiel Sims, he's a racially ambiguous man who's just portrayed fantastically.
Doing an odd accent.
He's doing a very bizarre
Russian?
accent. Russian, a bit of...
Generic bad guy.
Just generic bad guy accent. Oh yeah, spoiler alert, he's the bad guy.
I've seen that man before.
So who is he?
Ezekiel Sims. He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
And you know this because he ends up shooting Constance before stealing the magical spider. She finds it, she finds the spider, comes along, says, I found the spider, and then he shoots her. Yeah, so he takes that and leaves her for dead, and he escapes, and then Constance is fatally wounded, but is taken by a magical tribe of Spider-Men, registered trademark.
Tasteful.
It's tasteful. They're dressed in like wacky old like jungle Spider-Man suits. But they honestly they sound less foreign than Ezekiel Sims. So I don't know where they learned. They're hot on their Duolingo. Yeah, and they also mention these spider people earlier. By the way, they just go like they talk about the fact that there's a myth that there are magical spider people who can climb on walls. Oh, I wonder if that's going to come into effect. And 30 seconds later, it pays off because you see these magical spider people. They lay her in a pool of water and they take her away to their a set that looks like Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean at Disney World. It's not very good, I thought. They take her to a
that goes
pool.
for the whole movie, I think.
Yeah, the
When
art
it's not
direction
CGI,
is
it looks
very
awful.
bizarre. They lay her in a pool of water. She gives birth and then dies. And the main spider man, for want of a better word, says he will be here for the child, the baby, when she returns to seek answers. Flash forward, Madame Web title card. Flash forward 2003, and the spider pool baby is now a fully grown paramedic named Cassie, and she's living in NYC, Queens.
Hashtag relatable.
She is. She's played by box office darling Dakota Johnson. Bless her. I'm sorry that she's in this movie. She is quite good. How she got from the jungle to the USA as a baby is not explained. These primitive Spider-Men just get her back somehow.
Did you know she was in the foster system?
She mentioned she was in the foster system about 1,000 times. She works alongside Uncle Ben, another registered trademark, who's played by Adam Scott, who is...
We love Adam Scott.
We love Adam Scott. You for Step Brothers,
Yeah.
me for Severance.
What
which
was
is
the
fantastic.
one with the Antichrist kid?
Oh, not Little
That was a
Nicky.
bit
That's Adam
far.
Sandler. Devil Child. I can't remember what it was called. It was good though. So yeah, when there's an accident on a bridge, and Uncle Ben and Cassie go to be doctors, whatever they are. Paramedics. And Cassie tries to rescue someone, gets stuck in a car, which plummets into a river. She dies for like 3 minutes. Uncle Ben swims out, gets her, resuscitates her. And a very cool line says, "Welcome back to the land of the living."
Welcome back to the land of the living.
Kind of sick and delivered quite well by Adam Scott.
Adam Scott's eating in this.
He is eating.
Whenever
He
he's
gets
on
about
screen.
5 minutes of screen time, but
I forgot he was in the movie, and then he
fucking
came back,
scenery.
and it was so fun.
Later on, it could be days, weeks, or months. I don't know how long this
Unclear.
is unclear. She gains new powers of premonitions, being able to see events before they unfold. And one of these is that she sees her co-worker die while they're attending to a fire at a fireworks factory or something. And she is unable to stop it. She tries to stop it, and he ignores her, and he dies. In a state of self-imposed isolation, she learns that despite the death of her co-worker, she can in fact change the course of time, and not only that, prevent death as she saves a pigeon.
Even hearing you talk about this, I'm so bored.
It is
The plot
the plot is
is
leaves a lot to be
horrendous.
desired. She's watching A Christmas Carol, talking to a cat.
Oh yeah, but did you like the bit in the Christmas Carol because it was all about seeing the future?
Yeah, and she's like, "God's." She says something like, "Oh, Scrooge, if only you really knew," or something, and
Oh, no,
it's
I forgot about
diabolical.
that.
She's talking to a cat, and Dakota Johnson is just so checked out.
If only you knew Scrooge.
Yeah. Then Uncle Ben phones her and is like, "Oh, you're the co-worker / boss. Couldn't work out the dynamic. Funerals today in Poughkeepsie," which is a supernatural reference.
Yeah.
Because do you want to explain the reference? Me and you both looked at each other in the cinema. We're big fans of Supernatural. A great show.
The supernatural reference is the fact that it is, they say Poughkeepsie, which is actually Dean and Sam's sort of like safe word for when they're in
Safe
trouble.
word? That's from
Unfortunately, not in the
That's
not
from
in the fun
your
way.
fanfic. So yeah, she gets on a subway. Yada yada. There's 3 young girls who get on the subway, and we know that.
Oh god, we're only like a
this
quarter
is
of the
really
way through the film.
Yeah, and she sees their deaths they're murdered by Ezekiel. She sees it, and there's a lot of the editing's horrible in this scene. There's a guy who goes, "New York City's crazy nowadays."
New York City's a whole new level of crazy these days.
And you hear that line about
New
3
York be
times, and
crazy.
each time you hear it, the delivery's somehow worse than before. Yeah, terrible. We know that from a previous series of scenes that Ezekiel has tracked down these 3 girls. He's used high-tech surveillance equipment.
Very high tech.
Very high-tech.
Some may say
Completely unrealistic. I wouldn't. I think that is...
grounded.
We live in a society.
The movie is grounded in reality, and that's what Sony wants you to remember.
It is. It's.
They say that multiple times during the promo shoots for It's About Family.
That's what's so powerful about it. Oh yeah, and he's having dreams. You see this earlier. He's having dreams where the 3 lead girls are all dressed like crazy spider women, and they're killing him. And I think he says, "Oh, these girls are gonna murder me." But honestly, his line delivery is just some of the worst you'll
These
ever
girls
see.
are going to murder me.
You know, that is not even an exaggeration. It's bizarre.
My horrible impression was
Is
actually
so
quite
much
close.
less offensive than you actually think hearing this. When you actually hear this man, he is like that. He's Tommy Wiseau.
ADR.
It's awful.
King of ADR.
He does make the movie though. I loved him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he's tracked these girls down to a subway. Cassie saves these 3 girls by getting them off the train, but not before Ezekiel, who is now dressed in a Spider-Man outfit because we need a shot for the trailer.
Why?
Because he is Spider-Man.
Because we need a shot for the
And he
trailer.
climbs on the ceiling,
Awesome.
which gains him the name Ceiling Guy. Yeah, they refer to him quite a few times as Ceiling Guy after that, which I think is just the worst nickname in the world. He scares them a bit, he kills some police officers, ACAB, my man, and then Cassie and the girls escape. Cassie is now wanted for kidnapping because she steals a taxi and takes the girls.
Did you
there's-
mention that these girls, they all know Cassie?
Well, she doesn't know that yet.
Oh, is that later?
It is later. It's when they're in the woods.
Oh, that scene.
So they're all. She steals a taxi and drives them into the middle of the woods. Again, how much time has passed since the opening of the movie? I have no idea.
Temporal issues
Yeah.
are a big thing.
And then Cassie learns that she's connected to all three of the girls because one by one they all remember at the same time where they know her from. One lives in a building. That's the Isabella Merced character.
That's the my dad got deported.
Yeah, the dad
girl.
got deported. Just a fine job, I think. Isabella Merced. I thought she was
I thought they were all good.
quite charming. One, the Sydney Sweeney's character is the stepdaughter of a woman who Cassie saved earlier in the movie. I think her little brother earlier in the movie gives her a drawing.
Gives her the lovely drawing.
Yeah, and
that just gloats about his family.
yeah, and she is a real horrible person about it.
Yeah.
I don't really get it. I don't know if it's supposed to be endearing or what,
I think
but
it's the
she comes
millennial
across as
woman
very
humour, which we'll get
just
into.
take the fucking picture. And one of them, can't remember the actress or the character's name, I apologise. The third girl is skateboarding and is nearly hit by Cassie's ambulance.
Is it Celeste O'Connor?
It might be. The rest of the film plays out as you would expect, basically. Lots of action scenes.
There's no
lots
giant
of...
space laser though.
There is not. It's all very...
There is a giant Pepsi sign though.
There is a giant Pepsi sign, but there's no monsters or anything like that, like you would expect with these sort of movies. No, like you said, no space lasers.
Remember Electro though?
Yeah.
They like to.
Oh,
It's
God.
grounded in reality, babe.
This film and this story is different because it's really grounded in reality.
It is.
And
It's
that's
like the
what's
Dark
so
Knight.
important.
It's like the Dark
It
Knight.
really is. Joker.
Lots of exposition dumps, lots of explosions, lots of fireworks, lots of ADR dialogue, and a lot of male gazy shots of grown women playing 16-year-olds. Cassie also goes to Peru at one point, has a spiritual awakening.
She gets there. It's never explained how.
I'm not explained how. She finds.
It's never explained when.
She finds the man. Oh yeah, and then the film just sort of ends.
Yep. He gets crushed by the giant Pepsi sign, and that is
Spoiler
the movie.
alert.
Hey, come on. Get your stuff. Let's go.
So anyway, what did you actually think of the movie?
That is a really tough question to answer because it's obviously terrible. By any metric, it's bad. However, and this is a big however, we both love a bit of camp schlock.
Bad movies.
Bad movies. We're big into bad movies, and to see one on the glorious big screen of the Curzon and to witness something before your eyes that is as bad as anything I've watched
Yeah.
is nothing short of amazing.
To watch money burn on screen in service of the most, not only generic and forgettable, but also the studios seem to have forgotten the fact that we're sort of not really over the whole girls get it done. The Marvels, this doesn't really do that to the same extent, and I know you definitely think that. But if they were pivoting and marketing this towards being the first female-centric movie in the Spider-Man universe. So to me, I'm definitely going into this more, the fact that this movie cost $80 million to make and did not perform at the box office is so funny to me. I love it, and I hate Sony. So I love watching them fail. They're girl fails.
They are girl. I wish Cassie was a bit more of a girl fail. They should have. I think
I agree.
she should have been a bit of a girl fail and not like a bit like. You've never seen Frances Ha, right?
Nah.
It just reminded me of that because it's set in New York and she was. I would have liked a bit more whimsy, a bit more. She just comes across as kind of horrible.
She's not a Mary Sue, which is
She's
sort of
not,
refreshing.
but she's a bit BPD, isn't she?
She's also trying to be very Their whole thing was this is grounded in reality, right?
Really grounded in reality.
Yeah.
But it fundamentally doesn't work. You can't, if you're going to do a movie like The Joker, fair enough, but you can't have like people going into alternate universes and being able to see everything that happens in past, present and future. That's not, in no way, shape or form is that grounded in reality. She does a get out fall into the lake.
What did I think about? I thought, I honestly, like I said earlier, I thought it was about an hour and a half. It flew by for me.
I had a great time watching it.
Yeah, I had a great time watching it. It was really bad, but
good performances.
Great performance. No, great performance is such a stretch. I need to
some of
contextualise
them.
what.
I thought Adam Scott was very good.
Adam Scott was good.
Emma
Great
Roberts was.
Emma Roberts, aye.
Emma Roberts does what Emma Roberts does, and
She
I
came,
like that.
she got
She
that
ate
check.
and she left.
Yeah, good for her.
It reminded me, it's sort of the same way, as you said, campy, that I sort of like American Horror Story, where it's like, if I think about, I mean, American Horror Story is a lot better than this movie, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's that sort of, I find it camp, even if...
It is, I think, everyone at the Three Girls, which is why I like the Three Girls a lot, they are sort of doing this with a smirk on their face, it feels like. Dakota Johnson just looks miserable. I think she'd rather be anywhere else. But those three girls, I don't get me wrong, I thought she delivered what she could, Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
I liked her character. I don't know why I liked her. I just thought it's probably largely due to the fact she's an attractive woman. And so I like the coat she was wearing. She was wearing Doc Martens as well.
Yeah,
which
she was
gets me.
very, like, she's very New York girly. Which, I like that, but we'll sort of come to it later. But I think that I do genuinely think there's the bones of a good movie here.
I think so.
But unfortunately, it gets weighed down by the fact that it has to be a superhero movie. And unfortunately, I think there's a way to do this as a superhero movie that's not quite so terrible.
I think the main problem I think it would have been just a kind of shitty movie if not for Ezekiel Sims, the bad guy.
He elevated it beyond anything that we could have ever imagined going into that.
There's a reason they don't show... I think there's one line of dialogue from him in the trailer.
I have no idea what those girls have come.
But there is a reason for that, because he is like... it's like they pulled a bloke off the street who...
This man is apparently...
He's an
has been
established actor.
And we thought this was his first acting role ever.
I honestly... It was... I leaned over to
Do you
one
think he
point and
knew?
said, is this person an actor, do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think he knew what?
Do you think he knew that it was just terrible? Because I don't even think in the movie there's a single bit of his dialogue that's not ADR. I don't think... There may be one or two scenes, but
Which
his
is bizarre. Was he...
script,
Do you reckon he was speaking in an American accent and they wanted a different accent?
It reeks of post-production.
It does.
Changes to me. Maybe they weren't even mic'd. I don't know. That level of incompetence would be pretty astounding, but at this point I don't even... There's so much ADR in the movie anyway that they probably... Which is... To me, I'm not necessarily... I definitely am more in tune to things like ADR, but I'm by no means an editing expert, or I don't really have much knowledge outside of cultural osmosis in terms of, what goes into production and things like that. But I found it absolutely egregious in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever hear it done that badly, unless you're watching bottom of the barrel
It was
budget.
like watching an Italian giallo movie.
Yeah,
it's like watching like Deep Red or
where
something.
the whole thing is dubbed.
Yeah. It felt like that.
It was like that. You're right. We've recently gone through a little giallo phase of watching. We watched a couple, and all of those movies are dubbed. The whole thing is dubbed.
There's a reference to it in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where he gets Leo's character gets an offer to go to Italy to star in some movies.
Help me get into Italian movies. Well, then what's the problem? I gotta do fucking Italian goddamn movies. That's a fucking problem. Come on. Fucking bullshit.
So why don't we talk about you've done a bit of research into how this happened, because I think I'll just sum it up in one sentence. I enjoyed it, but it is a disaster.
Yeah, it's a girl fail. I enjoyed it, but it is a train wreck. It's so incompetent. It's so ridiculously embarrassing for those actors, not because they chose to be in the movie, but because they're even associated with this movie. Like, say what you want about any of the actors, and I for the most part I think the dialogue was terrible, and it was a bit teen boppy, which just isn't my thing. But I thought they all put in a stint and they all tried. Dakota Johnson sort of looked suicidal the whole time. But if I was associated with this, I think I would be as well. She was in Suspiria.
She was in Peanut Butter Falcon. I swear she's been in loads of weird
50 Shades, and I think the issue is that when she's given less than stellar dialogue to work with, she is not very good. But when she's given the right material, I actually think she... Anyway, so, Madam Web came out, obviously, the year of our Lord. Oh, I put 2023. It's 2024, isn't it? S.J. Clarkson is the director. First feature-length picture. Sony Pictures, obviously, who have a stellar record when it comes to superhero movies, especially the more recent ones. Again, we'll get into that shortly. An hour and 56 minutes. The production budget... A conservative estimate puts it at $80 million. Higher estimates and probably more accurate estimates.
Who's Esther? Is she one of the ones who was in? Was she one of the three girls? Is she the one I can't remember?
Let's try that again.
A higher estimate puts it at $100 million.
Easy. Is that just for production, not taking into account marketing?
I would assume so, because I don't think box office stats actually include that.
And they've been marketing the shit out of this.
I'm 99%. However, they did a big social media marketing campaign with this movie because
you could tell it was all over
it is aimed at 12-year-olds, because young people do not like superhero movies anymore. They think they're boring.
Which they are, from the mouth of babes.
Yeah. So we have... Currently, as of, yesterday, sitting at a 3.7 on IMDb.
Yikes.
Rotten Tomatoes is at 13%.
Yikes.
Which, again, is funny. Metascore 26, so as expected. You've got Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, Isabella Merced, Celeste O'Connor, Tahir Rahim, Mike Epps. Oh, maybe that's the best. No, that's definitely.
Is that not O'Neill?
Yeah, probably. Even though he was literally in it for one scene. Emma Roberts, again, was in the movie. And
so good. She's great.
She turned up on set for
love Emma
a day.
Roberts.
And Adam Scott.
Ooh.
So, S.J. Clarkson is the director of this film.
Any relation to Jeremy Clarkson?
It's possible.
Or...
It's possible.
It is possible?
Anything's possible, babe.
Anything's possible.
As I said, she was a TV director. This is her first feature film. Now, this is where it's weird. So, she's done various one-off episodes, some sort of as much as 6 episodes. So, she's just a director for hire for TV shows, is what I sort of imagine. That's no shade to that. I just mean that, that sometimes people just sort of go from project to project as, a guest, director.
Yeah, usually when they're not very good, but go on.
Anyway.
No shade to S.J. Clarkson.
All shade, all tea, all offence. She's done various one-off episodes, and some of these credits include Life on Mars.
Oh, British.
You remember?
Yeah.
EastEnders.
No, to be fair, they graft hard on EastEnders. They're recording about 4 episodes a day.
But I'm not. That's no shade to EastEnders.
But yeah, when was the last time?
But
Peter Jackson
one episode of EastEnders she's done.
Yeah.
Look, that's rogue.
Greta Gerwig's doing Corrie next week.
Admittedly, this could have been maybe when she was younger or something. But she's. I'm guessing she obviously. I think she might be British, and that maybe she is related to Jeremy Clarkson.
I think she must be British.
Because you're not directing
EastEnders.
Life on Mars or EastEnders. Anyway, EastEnders, Whitechapel again.
What's Whitechapel? Is that just a daytime
show? one of the Huns TV shows. Is it David Tennant? One of those.
I thought you meant Huns as in the Ming Dynasty.
Yeah, no, like.
Oh, like an ITV drama.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure it's David Tennant or it's one of those. Again,
Broadchurch.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have a TV license, so I don't.
Well, we do have a TV license. If the TV license people are listening.
Well, we don't watch.
Go on.
Anyway, Ugly Betty, Heroes, House.
I also once saw an episode of Ugly Betty being filmed in Trafalgar Square. Go on.
Get you. Hero's House, Dexter, Bates Motel,
Christ, she's got
Orange is
about,
the New
she?
Black, Jessica Jones, so maybe that's
Yeah,
where
yeah,
the
Marvel.
Marvel connection came in, and one episode of Succession.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Greg! Oh, go for it, Greg. Suck on those big white dicks, you fucking pervert.
So completely unrelated to the last clip, we now get on to sort of where Madam Web came from. So essentially Sony are currently the rights holders to Spider-Man. So they've had these since 1999, and their exclusive rights cover basically everything in the Spider-Man universe in perpetuity. So as long as Sony releases a new Spider-Man film at least once every 5.75 years, they retain the rights.
They've
So
got all those good characters.
well,
like
exactly.
Spider-Man and Spider-Man.
Yeah, love them all. You know 'em, you love them.
You like no, you love them.
So as long as they crank out a movie every 5.57 years, they get to retain the rights to Spider-Man. And as I'm sure you're aware, being set onto a deadline of when to release movies is a very natural and conducive creative process.
I mean, I know you love them, but just look at those Fantastic Four movies that
Exactly.
they used just to retain the rights. Or I think every Fantastic Four movie has been a rights retainer.
The Josh Trank movie.
Oh god, that disaster rather.
A brief sort of history of the Sony Spider-Man movies.
God, your worst nightmare of a superhero,
It's
Sony man.
Sony Man. He's the biggest flop in the history of the Marvel DC.
He won't save you, but he will burn down a bank in the process.
Sort of like the
and
Joker.
set fire to millions
Anarchy.
of dollars.
Awesome. I'm
He
behind
just
that.
wants to watch the world
I want to
burn.
see Sony Man now.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun. So we have probably our favourite Spider-Man 2002, Spider-Man 2 from 2004, and Spider-Man 3 from 2007.
Pizza time.
I mean, less said about the third one, the better. But those first two
Is that
are
Black
dynamite.
Spider-Man?
No, that's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
No, I mean the black suit Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's got Venom in it. Topher Grace.
It's been so long. I think I went to the cinema to see that for my birthday, which is
Ooh.
like when I was like 10.
It was massive when it came out.
And they were obviously all Sam Raimi. We love Sam Raimi.
We do love Sam Raimi.
You probably more than me, but
I'm a big Evil Dead guy. Not
Yeah.
so much this. Everyone loves the second one. I'm a big The Evil
Yeah.
Dead guy, and I do like Army of Darkness, and I love Drag Me to Hell.
yeah, that's good. So anyway, those three movies were released. People liked them for the most part. Not sure about Spider-Man 3, but
No, that was a bit of a disaster, I think. But no, those movies, you talk to anyone our age.
yeah,
Everyone
that's
loves
their
it. Yeah,
Spider-Man. So there was plans for a fourth Sam Raimi movie. This was basically cancelled due to creative differences.
Probably because he wanted to make it fucking weird.
Yeah. Obviously, we had the Doctor Strange
Yeah, I did not.
into
I
the
did
multi
not go and see
into
that.
the Doctor
yeah.
Strange verse of madness. Was that Sam Raimi?
It was Sam Raimi, and it was received horribly. And I think even Sam Raimi fans sort of hated it. I think it was a film for no one. Because it was too Sam Raimi for the normies, and it was too Marvel-y for the Raimi heads. But obviously he did Darkman, which is a superhero movie.
Again, I think given the right material, he can do it.
I think
we
if you give
then
him full creative control, he can do it.
Well, exactly. So the Spider-Man 3 was 2007. Once that fourth movie was cancelled, we then usher in the Andrew Garfield era of Spider-Man.
Really? You seriously think I'm a cop? Cop in a skin-tight red and blue suit. You know, you're...
The Amazing Spider-Man from 2012 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 from 2014.
Now, I absolutely hated both of those. You liked both of those?
I didn't mind them. I definitely only went to see it because it just has a cast full of hot people. I would be, as I said, I'd be very interested to rewatch them to see sort of how they hold up compared to Madam Web and compared to sort of what we know comes after it.
The only thing I can remember about those movies is the fact he had a dive poster on his wall.
Yeah, I kind of like the indie Spider-Man. I
He
like
is
that.
cool.
But
He
I
wears
have to say,
Converse.
there's not a single iteration of Spider-Man that I don't like. I like Tobey Maguire. I think they
Yeah.
all bring something different. I like Tom Holland.
Yeah, and I think we're sort of the antithesis of comic book fans, because I think comic book, especially Spider-Man fans, were very much of the belief that both of those were bad portrayals of Spider-Man, as far as I'm aware. But I mean, I like them.
Yeah.
I like the Tobey
I guess it
ones.
depends what you sort of grew up and what you perceive as Spider-Man. But those were both directed by Mark Webb. We couldn't have got a guy with a better name
of
to do
course.
them. Andrew Garfield, not Garfield, the cat, was signed on to do at least 3 and possibly 4 movies. The third one sort of got delayed, it got pushed back. What was that, 2014? I think it was planned for release in 2015. Then 2018 rolls around and nothing has happened. So they basically just scrapped that. And if at first you don't succeed, try and try and try and try again. Because maybe one time it will pay off.
If you throw enough web at the wall, something will stick.
That's a good one. Quite
Nice.
like that. So again, he was supposed to do 3, maybe even 4 movies. Those were scrapped because everyone hated them for the most part. You speak to like some people, again, it's nostalgia-y sort of thing, but I think for the most part, everyone hated those movies. Like, there's no need for a Spider-Man movie to be 2.5 hours long.
No, and there's no need to have Jamie Foxx in any movie,
Electro.
let alone CGI.
Best Kanye collaborator.
Oh, do you remember? Oh man, I wish we were video because I could put this in here. There was a collector's edition of the Blu-ray of Amazing Spider-Man 2. There was just a big model of Electro's head. I will show you this, but it's really bad.
What, the box set?
The box set was like a plastic mold of his head.
That sounds awesome. I can't
Hey,
lie.
Spidey fans, Stan Lee here to show you the amazing Spider-Man 2 Electro Collector's Edition.
Yeah, so we have... That was scrapped, and then we have the Tom Holland era, which I have to say are probably my favourite. I've enjoyed every single one of them.
They're good popcorn movies.
They are.
And they got... Jake
Gyllenhaal.
great. Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal's in the second one.
The Friend, he's alright.
He's funny. Oh, do you
Yeah.
like him? He's quite good.
Yeah.
He's in loads of memes, isn't he?
So again, you got Tom Holland and the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse.
See, I saw that first animated one and it's fucking fantastic.
People love those movies.
And apparently the second one's even better. I should
Yeah.
watch it, but I didn't.
Yeah, Miles Morales has probably been the most I mean, I don't know how people feel about Tom Holland, but...
No, people love those.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've not really heard anything. I think it's just the lighter tone tends to work for Spider-Man because it's inherently quite camp.
The tragically ludicrous? The ludicrously tragic?
Oh, yeah, like when a clown dies.
This sort of feeds into what is now collectively known as the Sony Spider-Man universe, SSU. It was originally called the Spider-Man Universe of Marvel Character.
Oh, that's so catchy.
SPUMC, Sony Spider-Man Universe, SSU as they call it, started to take shape in the 2010s. They then basically decided to pivot focus away from the MCU, which was obviously Avengers came out in 2012. So I think comic book buzz was crazy around this time.
High.
And it has never ever reached anything like that since, like as in once Endgame finished.
Yeah, I was going to say that era from like Avengers Assemble to
Yeah.
Endgame was, you couldn't fucking escape them.
But even then I'm like, you know what, if the movies are good enough, it's not my kind
Yeah.
of thing, but
No, it felt like there was a creative force behind them.
yeah, whereas now it's just like, please let this work. Please let this intellectual property that we own work. As I said, they decided to sort of shift focus away from the MCU and try and find new and exciting characters to sort of base stories on.
What are some of these exciting characters, Gio?
Venom. 2018, and their sequel, Let There Be More Venom. What was it called?
Let There Be Carnage.
Let There Be Carnage. People loved them.
People? Do they actually? I
No.
don't know anyone.
No.
I didn't watch them. They weren't memed very much. I mean, I know the Eminem song was memed.
I think the Eminem song was bigger than anything in the movie. I think it was just the classic case of,
I mean, that first
apathy.
movie made about what, $1 billion. I think it made over 800 million. by the way.
yeah,
People went to see it.
yeah. But Tom Hardy is, I mean,
One, Tom Hardy's in it, and two, I think people knew who Venom was.
well, That's something that we will see shortly.
Okay.
Venom and Let There Be More Venom. Then we have Morbius, which made a more $1 billion.
It's Morbin time.
So again, Venom, people know Venom, and especially for like our generation,
Topher Grace.
yeah, there's some sort of brand recognition there.
And Tom Hardy is a big name.
Yeah.
Compared to Jared Leto, who will appear in pretty much anything.
Yeah, if it means that he can be weird and
Yeah. I mean,
do off-putting things, he'll do it. So yeah, we have Venom, and then we have Morbius, and then I don't understand why Sony didn't just cut their losses and say, we're taking the L on this one, we will not be making any more movies. I think, again, there was plans for a Morbius sequel.
I think there was.
I don't
heard
think
that,
anything ever came of
but
that.
I think it lost so much money, especially because they put it in the cinema twice, because they bought into their own hype.
Well, yes, again, hype is, and memes come from a very different place than corporate interest.
Yeah, and just to clarify, in case anyone doesn't know who might be listening, I'm sure you do know because it was everywhere, but Morbius became a massive meme on Twitter. No one went to the cinema to see it.
It was huge on TikTok as well.
It was huge on TikTok as well. No one went to go see it. And then everyone memed it and was like, oh, Sony, put it back in the cinemas for us because we want to go see it now.
And it flopped
and
again.
They re-released it and no one went to go see it again.
Which actually
Which
was
is
the
very
coolest
funny.
thing that they could have
Yeah.
ever done, because people really made them think that we were clamouring for a Morbius re-release.
Yeah.
And then fucking no one saw it. So, very based in my opinion. I'm guessing that the similar thing with Morbius, there was a planned franchise, as you will be surprised to hear there was with this movie.
With Madame Web, it's been a hot minute since we talked Madame Web.
I know. So the state of the what a post Madame Web Sony reality looks like. We have Kraven the Hunter with Aaron Taylor Johnson coming out. It should be this year. I think again that was pushed back and delayed, unsurprisingly.
How
think,
are they going to market these movies,
well,
man?
I think if they want to shift focus towards Gen Z and they want to shift focus towards getting that younger audience who, for the most part, aren't interested in... I mean, obviously there are going to be some kids who like sort of superhero movies. I think if this is the direction they're going in, casting Aaron Taylor Johnson is probably the smartest thing they could have done.
Yeah.
Because at least, like, the girls love him. I still don't think they'll go to the cinema to see it. And I think they'll either wait till it comes out on streaming or do whatever
They'll
it
just
is.
watch clips on TikTok.
But exactly. I can't see there being a market for this movie.
I think they should market it the same way Gaspar Noé marketed Climax, where on the poster you just put like, you hated Morbius, you despised Venom, you loathed Madame Web, now get ready for Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah.
Just lean into it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, just be like, everyone
picture of,
fucking hates us.
Kraven the Hunter drinking a spiked sangria.
Yeah. And we fucking suck. Here's another movie.
Here's
Eat
another
the
one.
slot pigs. Eat it.
Eat it, piggies.
Well, obviously now this leads us to the current state of the Sony market with Madame Web. To sort of go back to the beginning, script writers were hired in 2019 to write a script centered about Madame Web, and obviously S.J. Clarkson was then hired to direct Sony's quote-unquote first female-centric Marvel film. So obviously I think this is why I've gone into this movie probably a bit more cynical than you have, in the sense of I'm very, very tired of corporate feminism. And I think it's so phony. I'm just tired of... It's the first female-centric movie. Okay, we'll make a good movie then. You can't just do things because you think they'll... Like, it's so clearly that they're just trying...
They're trying to appeal to as many markets as possible.
And it's so transparent and it's so icky. Obviously then the trailer comes out, horrifically negative, as I've said.
It was memed to death.
Yeah, and not only from a sort of story point of view, From a technical point of view, the sound editing is awful.
The line delivery is good. I'm going to play that one more time and go.
Ezekiel Sims. He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
So once the trailer comes out, everyone is in outrage. Sometimes that works in the studio's favour, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, they chose to, instead of actually sort of, making a better movie, they shift the focus from universe connection. So the fact that it's a Spider-Man movie and this exists in the SSU or whatever, they then decided to market it towards quote-unquote thriller tones.
It is...
Now,
it's like Silence of the Lambs, this movie, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it...
objectively not a thriller.
It's not thrilling, nor is it a thriller movie. So
no, maybe the subway scene, maybe the action scenes, but there's no build-up of tension at all.
I mean, I'd like to think I've seen a thriller before, and Madam Web is... no. So, to me, that reeks of, oh my god, people hated it, what can we do to salvage this?
We could lie to our audience.
We could lie to our audience. After the review embargo lifted, for anyone that doesn't know, a review embargo is basically studios will say, you can see this movie and you can review it, but you can only release your review after a certain date.
Yes. To not sway public opinion before the film is released.
Exactly.
Or too far before the film is released.
Yeah, there are different... It's a tricky situation, and as someone who's on the outside, I obviously don't know the entire ins and out of the industry and how, the marketing side of everything works. But I know that the review embargo is vital to a film's success, because a lot of people cancelled their advanced purchase tickets after that lifted.
What losers?
Yeah, I mean,
to see this movie.
How much brand recognition do you rely on to advance purchase a ticket?
I don't understand. You hear Madame Web and you go, "Oh God, I need to pre-order a ticket because the cinema's gonna be so packed out. I want to see it on opening night." Then you see that trailer and you go, "Nah."
Yeah.
What person is doing that?
I mean, I think...
At least go and laugh at it, like we did.
I think that it is harking back to Endgame times where it was like, if you don't see this on opening night, it's gonna get spoiled,
God,
right?
I would have loved to see this on a packed cinema opening night.
So would I, because I think the atmosphere would have been comical.
Yeah, very much like my midnight screening of Rise of Skywalker, where people were booing and laughing at the movie.
I wish I would pay any amount of money in the world to go back and rewatch that. Again, another movie that is just...
studio disaster.
Oh, they fly now! They fly now! They fly now!
Speaking of the sort of review embargo, this was lifted one day before the film was actually released.
Nothing suspicious there.
Not necessarily a bad thing. It's not if the review embargo is lifted shortly before release, it doesn't necessarily mean that the movie's terrible.
No, I think with most big movies it's like that, right?
Yeah.
I know with all Star Wars movies they're pretty much the day before the release.
Yeah, I think it depends again how the production studios want to market it. It depends on in terms of what marketing they have lined up, what they want when. Again, I don't know too much about it necessarily. But I'm 100% sure that after Morbius, it was intentionally done. And the reaction to the trailer...
Yeah, well, they knew they knew they had a dud on their hands.
Yeah, 100%. So it was damage control.
Yeah, it was damage control at that point. I have no doubt about that.
No, definitely.
No one saw this movie.
No.
Thought, oh no, this is good. We'll put this forward for the Academy Awards for Best ADR.
Yeah, best dialogue dubbed in. You know what?
Best barefoot scene.
If you're a gay man who's into,
or maybe if you're into dirty,
if you're into foot fetish
racially
stuff,
racially
ambiguous foot fetish stuff. So we've been ragging on Morbius. However, Morbius made over 100 million more than this movie made.
Give it time. Give it till the re-release.
Again, obviously, Madam Web has only been out for a few weeks. with time, I'm guessing that will go up. It
Go and see
certainly
this
will
movie,
not.
by the way.
It certainly will not be going up by 100 million.
No, I doubt that.
But Morbius has had streaming releases and stuff like that, so that doesn't necessarily
No
count.
boutique Blu-ray releases though. I saw.
I wonder.
No.
Arrow Video Morbius
Arrow Video
collab.
did not release a 4K box set.
The domestic opening weekend, obviously America, came out around nearly 15.5 million. That was the 53.5% of the domestic gross. So the fall off for this movie
Oh fucking hell!
was hard. Morbius was very similar. It had around 50 odd %. For comparison, these numbers sound a bit oblique, but Wonka obviously has done incredibly well. People loved it. Positive word of mouth has a big impact.
A Christmas holiday release as well.
Yeah, exactly. So people are off school. Obviously, again, these movies aren't really comparable, but Wonka had a 18.2% of the domestic gross was made on opening weekend. With Madam Web, that was 53.5. So obviously,
There's no longevity in this.
no, it's got no legs, as they sort of say. So the worldwide box office for this movie was 61 million.
Oh no! I'd just like to remind everyone the budget.
Was
Conservative guesses is
80 million, possibly 100 million.
and that is for production, and that is not for marketing. And if you've noticed, they've marketed the shit out of this movie.
Yeah, so Morbius, as I said, got nearly 163 million, and this got 61.
Oh no! And those numbers aren't improving.
No,
They'd
they're
be
not.
lucky to make 100 million.
I
Oh,
don't.
no,
I
because
don't
think
even
it
think
counts.
that they won't be
80
anywhere near that.
million, but they're not making their money back off this.
Oh no.
They're losing upwards of 100 million.
Morbius had a similar budget. I want to say 75 million.
60 million of that was probably to Jared Leto.
Yeah, he had to do his maniacal. Do you know the plot of Morbius?
No.
Because I looked it up earlier.
Isn't he like a
Somehow being a
vampire?
vampire.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he's
was
a
like,
vampire.
oh, I did not realise that. Both movies did very well in Mexico. I'm not sure what.
Comic book fans?
Maybe. And then it was obviously very closely followed by the UK, sort of in both instances. So although we have been ragging on Morbius a lot, it did a hell of a lot better than this movie did. I think the biggest issue that actually we have with Madam Web is the fact that it absolutely fails as a superhero movie. You look at the Fantastic Four movies, right? We've talked about those a lot because this also plays into my theory that this was like a pastiche on 2003.
Okay,
like,
explain your theory.
So my theory was basically that, and I was giving the movie a lot of credit by saying this. I thought, wouldn't that be cool if, because the movie's set in 2003, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be cool if actually it was a bit of a throwback to the movies that were being released around that time? So sort of like the campy 2000s. And I wondered whether... And as soon as I had the thought, I thought, I've put more thought into this than anyone.
Yeah, you're giving these people way too much credit.
And then I looked it up and I said, why was this set in 2003?
Exactly. Yeah.
Aside from the Peter Parker connection. So anyway, I was like, oh, and I looked it up, and apparently the reason why it's set in 2003 is so that they could have the song "Toxic" by Britney Spears.
It's a banger.
It is a banger. It's not an accompaniment to an action scene, though.
No.
It is not.
It's
So,
not.
and that-
I guess. Oh, is it toxic because Ezekiel Sims has toxic hands? Is that why they did it?
Well, I don't
It must be,
fucking
right?
know.
Because you've got thematically.
This movie has no themes. But to me, why people like superhero movies, right? You're watching this character on a journey.
Yeah.
You're seeing them come up from being just your average Joe
Yeah.
to figuring things. That's why Spider-Man is so good, because he's relatable.
Yeah, and even like I don't know, think of the big guys like Iron Man.
Yeah,
They all
Iron Man.
have
He's just a
arcs.
guy.
They all have arcs, and I don't know what Madame Web.
Bruce Banner,
Black
Black Widow, Batman. Like,
Batman's the ultimate. I will give the movie the benefit of the doubt right now, and I will be the devil's advocate.
yeah.
And defend a little bit of old Cassandra Webb. I think I quite liked the portrayal of her sort of throwing everything into her work. I think a lot of paramedics are like that. And a lot of people in healthcare, and whether it be other lines of work that is deemed essential work, a lot of those people throw their lives to their job, and I thought that was portrayed well. And also, she clearly has issues that she's not addressing and is covering up.
Again, they do nothing with it.
No,
nothing
again,
comes
it has the
of
bones
anything.
of it. I thought probably the best scene in the movie for me was the baby shower scene. Simply because my two favourites were the baby shower scene and the CPR scene, both because you see Cassandra sort of damaged and
I quite like that scene where she's like saying just the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Constantly. That was like,
and Emma Roberts trying to sort of
be like, you do realise what you're saying.
Yeah.
She's trying to be nice,
Yeah,
but it's
she
also
is.
like,
But you can
what
see
are you
how...
doing? You don't say that to a pregnant.
No, and you can, but I thought those scenes were great, and if they'd have played into her being slightly socially awkward,
it
just
does
played into
nothing
it a
with
bit
it.
more. They do nothing with her
But
character
again,
whatsoever.
it's like we sort of said, a paramedic being able to see the future.
Yeah,
that
cool
fucking
things
writes
with that.
itself. Like there's so much cool shit you can do with that.
But we've got to drive out into the woods.
But we have to we have to
we have to drive
have
out to the woods.
a
and go to
CGI
a
scene where
diner.
she's in a web.
Oh Christ!
Like
I really brought that from my memory.
But sort of going back to my point of
Yeah, sorry, we're meandering.
No, but it absolutely fails to be a superhero movie. There's no hero's journey, right? That in my head, that's what people like to see.
Yeah.
Learning how to use their powers, and like she doesn't learn anything. She just doesn't believe it, and then it happens to her so many times that she's just like, "Oh, okay, I believe it." She doesn't have to figure out how to. Maybe
No,
I'm misremembering.
No,
but
she figures it out by going to Peru and meeting the ghost/vision/spiritual awakening of her mother, and then things sort of make sense. But again, it's so half-assed. No one gave a shit.
But I also think that this was meant to be the start of a franchise, right? This fucking sucks.
It's self-sabotage, honestly.
As a like, this is meant to be establishing these characters. It's meant to establish Cassandra Webb and the three girls, because the
three girls whose name I cannot even remember.
No,
because they have no characters.
They are just. There's nothing. There's nothing, and for me, I find it a little bit on the nose. Where it's like,
of course it is. It's very on the
okay. I understand that this is actually a real thing that people go through, but again, like she's the rich girl, but actually her parents are really distant, and it's like, again, these are just interesting concepts that they do nothing with.
And it's
what do you learn about those girls?
No.
You don't know anything about them.
And they're doing their best with that material. I think all three girls, Sydney Sweeney, Isabella Merced, and Celeste O'Connor, are doing. They're going above and beyond the Call of Duty for this script, and I hope they got paid a lot, and I hope they can take the money and run and go to other projects. I mean, I know Sydney Sweeney has her new film coming out, which we'll be seeing, Immaculate.
Yeah.
Isabella Merced.
Is that the Nun one?
Yeah. Isabella Merced will go and be a box office smash hit, I'm sure. Yeah. And so will Celeste O'Connor. I have no doubt about it. They're very good. So yeah. Have we said everything we can about Madame Web?
I think we have. I mean, I think we've said a lot more than people probably want to hear about Madame Web.
Yeah. You're going to have to bear with us on Idle Film Club, as we're new to this whole game.
We're figuring out what works and what fucking sucks.
And I'll tell you what doesn't fucking suck. Madame Web.
Yeah.
Going in circles now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We're ending this.
We're ending this. Do you want to record an outro? I think we need to record something that plugs our social media. This has been Idle Film Club, episode 1 on Madame Web. Please check out our socials over on TikTok, Instagram. You can find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify.
We don't have Instagram yet.
We're going to make it Instagram before this comes out. Idle Film
we
Club.
have TikTok though. Go and look at my
George has been making edits.
crippling attempts to be relevant.
We're so old. So please share this with anyone you think would like it. Even if they wouldn't, just share it to them.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? And we'll see you next week. We're going to be covering the Beatles biopics that haven't come out yet. We're just going to talk
musician
about
biopics.
Yeah, we'll talk about a bit about musician biopics. We might do a little review of Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Stay tuned.
Stay
tuned.
Oh, there'll be fan casts. What
Oh.
are going to be my fan casts of the Fab Four?
I can't wait.
Tune in next week to find out. Thank you for listening, everyone. Have
Thank
a
you.
Great week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I don't like these movies.
Get real.
But I saw that movie 20 goddamn times!
Just consume product. I watch my movies. Yeah, my movies are the best movies.
It's so much fun!
This movie's too complicated, man.
So once again, no smoking in this theater.